Surprise! You've waited patiently, my children. Today we're reviewing Breath of Fire 4, which released April 27th, 2000 on the PlayStation. If you're new here, I reviewed Breath of Fire 1 through 3, so you should totally check those out. Now, no fancy intro, let's just jump right into it. A quick note, it's important to know Breath of Fire 4 is a prequel to the series. It's how it all began. Breath of Fire 4 starts off with Cray, the leader of the Warren clan, and Princess Nina on a sandflyer in search for Nina's older sister, Elena, who went off on a diplomatic mission. A dragon in the desert goes berserk, crashing their sandflyer. Nina goes to get the supplies needed to repair the ship while Cray stays behind. On her way to the nearest town, she stumbles upon a dragon that turns himself into a human boy with amnesia. The only thing he recalls is his name, Ryu. Ryu joins Nina in her mission to repair the sandflyer. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, Fulu, the first emperor of the Fulu Empire 6 centuries ago, awakens from his tomb to reclaim the throne. However, Yom, a general in the modern Fulu Empire, lies in wait for the sleeping silver-haired beauty and overpowers him. The entirety of the game, you go back and forth from Ryu's side of the story to Fulu's, each overcoming their respective struggles. Ryu is uncovering what he is and the mysteries of being a dragon, while being chased by the Fulu Empire, and Fulu is trying to regain his strength and reclaim what was once his. Being the main character, he seemed more like a tag-along. At least Fulu had purpose. Anywho, each character is going through their respective battles, and the side plot is a peace treaty among the two warring nations, and the Empire having some questionable practices, which really bled into the overall story. I'm really happy it remained focused on Ryu and Fulu inevitably meeting rather than the broken peace treaty. Our cast, I believe, is good, but I am really upset by the censorship certain characters got, which made them dull as a doorknob. I'm mainly talking the mercenary, Sias. It was implied in the Japanese version that he was an alcoholic, but all signs of alcoholism was removed in the North American version, and instead he had a stutter. This really sucks because there was literally no backstory or character to him whatsoever, which is a shame because I actually dug his design, and that's a lot coming from me because I hate dogs. So Ryu, the star and silent dragon boy protagonist, Nina, our staple bird person, who's the typical kind-hearted chick, Cray, oh Cray, he's a hot-tempered fighter who's just so strong and he's a lover, not a fighter. I mean, he's both, but my poor baby. Urshan is surprisingly my favorite. Urshan, who's a body of armor who laughs at the worst times. By the way, I immediately knew there was something to know about Urshan. Like the moment the hunk of metal walked onto the screen, I knew. Ursula, a military woman who works for the Empire, and of course our antagonist, Fulu, which everyone thought I would love, and I mean I'd smash, but Fulu to me is one of those guys who's beautiful until he opens his mouth. I cannot stand thou art thy Shakespeare talk, hate it. As a character though, I really enjoyed experiencing his journey. This is how Tipo from Breath of Fire 3 should have been handled, by the way. Aside from the blatant censorship, solid cast. Love the callbacks to previous games and other characters, and I really love seeing a raw difference in power between Fulu and Ryu and friends. Look how each takes down a dinosaur. I just love how casually Fulu walks away knowing his opponent ain't shit. Now the gameplay in Breath of Fire is good, different in some aspects, some for the better, some for the worse. They took away dragon gene splicing, and that was the best. Fighting is similar to most JRPGs, attack, use an item, charging is auto-attacking, but there are some twists like guarding, which allows a character a chance of learning an enemy move, while of course taking less damage if attacked. An enemy skill can only be learned once and by one character. Something brand new to Breath of Fire is combos, using skills and magic one after another to generate an entirely new move. I liked it, but some enemies were fast enough to thwart your combo, which was infuriating. Ryu, our special dragon boy, has some extra goodies. You find dragons in the game and they lend you their power that can only be used once until you rest. Then there's transforming into a dragon by finding dragon gems. Very reminiscent of dragon genes, but nowhere near as fun. Some forms are unlocked due to story, others you must find hidden in the world. Staying in dragon form consumes mana, or AP. So a few things I hate is no matter what version of the dragon you turn into, it all looks the same. You just have different attack options that then will transform you into the dragon, but only for that attack. 2, I hate that dragon forms can only be updated by game points. What are game points? They can only be obtained by doing mini-games. And as someone who's not a fan of mini-games, I did not get any of the upgraded forms, and I have no regrets. I watched what I missed out on YouTube and I was fine. I thought that was such a dumb connection. I think if you use dragon forms more often, they'd evolve. Or maybe a certain type of dragon token currency to spend by doing dragon-related things. Nope. Minigames. Dragon forms in this game were incredibly disappointing. Give me back Breath of Fire 2 or 3 dragon forms, please. Also, there is no callback to fusions, which was one of the greatest things of Breath of Fire. Speaking real quick on minigames, I swear to God, this game spams minigames. I like a change in gameplay from time to time, but after a while I was like, oh my God, let me just pay you money for whatever food you want like a fucking normal person. Why can't this dog just dig up the shit for me? Those are some of the early ones. Some of the later ones get so irritating. A positive note is finally you have all the characters traveling with you like the good old days of the original Breath of Fire. While you still have a 3-person party, you can seamlessly switch characters in battle. 3 are in the front who are your main fighters, and the 3 in the back who can't attack or be attacked, and they regenerate their AP. I even like when you use healing items or spells, it heals everyone, including those on reserve. And very rarely, sometimes those in the back would assist you in the fray. It was a welcome and well done addition. Other things that make a return are the Master System, slightly more complicated than Breath of Fire 3. Instead of leveling up under that Master to gain a skill, each Master has different unique requirements, like have X amount of items or catch X amount of fish, deal X amount of damage with combo attacks. Leveling under a Master plays a role on how you build your character. Certain masters specialize in damage and health while lowering your wisdom and AP gain. Others the opposite. Changing your master is as simple as camping, which is great so you don't have to literally travel all the way back all over the world to find them. You can also switch learned enemy skills if you don't like the person who has it. You can rest, save, talk to your party to get a hint on what to do next. And finally, the Fairies' Land of Dreams has returned. Designate fairies to hunt, build houses, and run establishments that help Ryu and friends. It's one of my favorite things in Breath of Fire. While traveling the world map, sometimes you'll see a question mark at an unmarked location. Check it out for an item, or maybe you'll find yourself hunting. Character field abilities are still a thing. Cray can push things around, and the one I found the most useful is Nina's ability to fly and see the area around her. Fishing is still a thing. While I was into fishing more than I care to admit, it wasn't as fun as Breath of Fire 3's fishing. So with the gameplay, there's good and subpar. It's really sad to see they dropped the ball with practically everything dragon related. Moving on to the graphics. I liked it. At first I thought Breath of Fire 3 and 4 were ugly because the sprites on a 3D plane, but your girl has come around, she has seen the light. Character designs I liked. I appreciate the extra step of changing character panels. It gave you an extra sense of how the character was feeling, especially when you got to Fulu's crooked smile. Also, love the opening. The weeb in me loves all things anime. For me, this is the equivalent of Suikoden 3's opening. Except Suikoden 3's opening is still better. Fight me. Dungeon designs, as always, are done exceptionally well. I'm inspired to do a top 5 favorite and least favorite dungeons of the Breath of Fire series. That's how enamored I am with Breath of Fire dungeons. They're never boring. They always require thought and heavy exploration. Perhaps too much exploration. Oftentimes you'll be changing the camera to see where the heck you're going, especially in towns. I think it's a cute idea and an interesting way to unveil the world, but other times it gets downright confusing. You can leave a room in one angle and return to it in another, and it completely throws off your sense of direction. Oh, and speaking of great dungeons, remember the desert area everyone absolutely loved in Breath of Fire 3? Well, they brought it back! The last thing I want to touch up on is the world map. Such a disappointment. Breath of Fire 3 did a great job of cutting down random encounters, but still gave us an overworld to explore. Breath of Fire 4 just gave us a generic map with dotted routes, which later you're able to fast travel to. Definitely a poor change. Finally, the music, which I found pretty good, but it is my least favorite in the Breath of Fire series. I liked a lot of the town's music, very upbeat. You'll notice a lot of Arabic and Asian influences and undertones. You'll get your dose of some Japanese and Chinese folk music. Not my kind of tunes to jam out to, but I can appreciate where they're going. Different battle themes and boss battle themes for Ryu and Fulu was a nice touch. There are even some musical callbacks. Here's Breath of Fire 3's Steam Locomotion you hear while sailing. In Breath of Fire 4's Go by Ship, which you also hear while sailing. I was wondering why why it was so familiar to me. Anywho, my favorite track, while I do love the boss battle themes, this track shook me to my core because of where you first heard it. You travel to a certain place, you can't progress, and you have to obtain an item. You obtain said item, return to place, but it's darker, eerie, and you hear this track instead of the previous. It was absolutely horrifying. I had to stop and recompose myself for a moment. You just knew you stumbled on something you really wish you didn't. This song is truly a testament to how music can completely warp an atmosphere. Enjoy Destruction. Creepy, right? This song will forever be burned into my spirit. As for the score of Breath of Fire 4, I give it an 8 out of 10. My biggest complaints lie within the combat, how dragon forms were handled, and I'm pretty butthurt about the censorship. Syas's character was literally stripped away from him. There was also just other cool and funny shit, like Fulu beheading someone or Ryu spying on the girls while they bathe in the hot springs. I don't know, man. War and mass murder? Cool. Boobs and alcoholism? Oh god, think of the children. Other than that, characters were great, story was great. I like how it showed that depending on who you meet in life kind of shapes you as a person and kind of can change your worldview. New combat features are great, minus dragon stuff. I know a big question people are wondering is which did I enjoy more, Breath of Fire 3 or 4? To my surprise, I enjoy 3 a lot more. I enjoyed the journey way more. I like the story, I like the antagonist, I love dragon gene splicing. My only real comment is Tipo. I don't like how Tipo is handled. With that said and done, this ends my Breath of Fire series. But Pelvic, does that mean you're not playing Dragon Quarter? That's exactly what that means. I mentioned before in my previous video, I have an aversion to PlayStation 2 games. And it doesn't really look interesting. The only thing I care about is why are Nina's wings upside down. That is like the one mystery I'm quite curious about. And the one mystery I can Google. Anyways, let me know your thoughts on Breath of Fire 4, my review of Breath of Fire 4, and your favorite character of Breath of Fire 4. Team Urshan, let's get it! Thank you so much for watching. Top box is more reviews like this, and the bottom box is my Let's Play channel. And of course, don't forget to take a gander at my Patreon and maybe support me there. Toodles!